This is Online Pass, the weekly video game news quiz show. My name is Cyril Lachel, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions based on some of the biggest news stories from the past week. It's your job to answer each question correctly, so grab a piece of paper and a number 2 pencil, because this is a test. Question 1. This was a bad week for Chris Pranger, the localization editor recently fired by Nintendo of America. Although he now takes responsibility, what dumb reason was given for Mr. Pranger's untimely dismissal? Question 2. Perhaps inspired by the enthusiastic reaction to news of the Final Fantasy VII remake, Capcom announced this week that they're finally going to remake and modernize one of their most popular releases. What game is getting the next generation makeover? Question 3. Hoping to avoid an Adderall scandal, the Electronic Sports League announced this week that they're going to adopt the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of banned substances. This is the same list used by the Olympics and other popular sporting events. If you're caught with any of these substances in your system, you can be fined and even banned from the sport. What is the maximum length of time you can be banned from the ESL? Question 4. Square Enix announced this week that Final Fantasy XV would miss the holiday rush and ship sometime in 2016. While disappointing, this announcement should come as no surprise. But there is one thing about this launch that is noteworthy. What will Final Fantasy do for the very first time next year? Question 5. Remember Gus from Breaking Bad? Well, his recognizable face is being used to sell an upcoming first-person shooter, and he's not alone. In a recent promotional video, a bunch of celebrities got together to generate hype. Among the in-crowd was Kendra Wilkinson, the Playboy model turned reality star, who admits to not being much of a gamer. It ended up being so much fun, she admits. I'm so glad this was the first game I got into. What upcoming shooter is she talking about? And now, the throwback round, where I pull questions from classic game magazines. Brace yourself, the next corner's rough. 15 years ago, Next Generation magazine was looking for a new game to mock. As readers may recall, for the past 16 years, News Bites has been making jokes about Daikatana. Now that the game is out, there's no point in joking about it anymore. We asked you, the reader, to suggest a new target for our jokes. What game did the readers overwhelmingly recommend? Okay, put your pencils down, everybody. The quiz is over. Let's see how you did. After appearing on the Part-Time Gamers podcast, localization editor Chris Pranger was fired by Nintendo of America. As many of you have probably seen, I am no longer with Nintendo, begins Chris's Facebook message. I was terminated this week due to a podcast appearance I made last Monday. It was a stupid judgment call on my part, and ultimately it cost me far more than I could have imagined. I can only hope that Chris lands at a company who's actually interested in receiving good press. When Resident Evil was remade for the GameCube, many wondered if this would lead Capcom to modernizing all of their 32-bit survival horror titles. Sadly, this ended up not being the case. Despite critical and financial success, Capcom chose not to remake Resident Evil 2 or Nemesis. That is, until now. This week, the Japanese publisher announced that the Resident Evil 2 remake was in development and hitting modern consoles sometime after Resident Evil 0. Are you excited? Wait, no, that's not actually a question. Put your pencils back down. After a team revealed a member had consumed Adderall to help focus, the Electronic Sports League decided to adopt the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of banned substances. This list includes everything from anabolic steroids and HGH to cocaine and cannabis. However, not all of the substances are treated equally. For example, Marijuana cannot be consumed from the start of the first day to the end of the last day of competition, but is acceptable when you're not competing. On the other hand, cocaine and steroids are banned at all times. At worst, testing positive can result in a maximum of a 2-year ban from the league. It was wishful thinking to expect Final Fantasy XV this year, so it wasn't at all surprising that Square Enix attached a 2016 release to the much-anticipated sequel. But what is surprising is the way it's being released around the world. For the first time ever, Final Fantasy is getting a simultaneous launch in the United States, Japan, and Europe. It used to be that English-speaking gamers would have to wait months, if not longer, for a proper localization. But apparently that's a relic of the past, which is fine by me. Look, I'm not saying that Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is desperate for attention, but their newest celebrity reaction video isn't helping their cause. The group includes pro athlete Hank Baskett, actor Giancarlo Esposito, and power couple Lisa and Rick Malambri. But it was Hugh Hefner's ex-girlfriend that stole the show, suggesting that this was the first game she ever got into. I'm sure that speaks to the target demo, right? By the year 2000, Team Fortress 2 had already been delayed a number of times. It was in the midst of having an identity crisis, which was certainly not helped by the dopey subtitle Brotherhood in Arms. So when Next Generation magazine went looking for a brand new target to mock after the release of Daikatana, most recommended Team Fortress 2 to be the next whipping boy. Unlike Daikatana, Team Fortress 2 ended up silencing all of the critics. Sure, it didn't hit computers and consoles until 2007, but the result was well worth the wait. So, how many did you get right? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share it with friends and compare your score. We've been posting new episodes of Online Pass for 4 weeks now, and everybody seems to be into it. I'm currently mulling a retro-themed spin-off that would run sometime in the week, perhaps bi-weekly, I don't know. Is that something you'd be interested in? Let me know in the comments. I recommend you hit the subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Trust me, I've seen some of the videos coming up, and you won't want to miss them. Until then.